even when God's restoration providence is finished, but still we have to learn chapter 1, principle of creation. So you don't have to learn fall of man, those things again, but this one you have to learn. And it has really big contents. How many pages, chapter 1 in our Divine Principle book? 60? That's it, many pages, but more, much more.
68.
Much more, true. Right. Then what does this principle of creation teach us? First, now, man has been asked, what is man? Even man is man, but man does not know himself. This is really, don't you think it is very ridiculous? We are men. You know man, but you don't know man. You see man all the time, you live with man, but you don't know what man is. How foolish it is. And without knowing himself, man says man is the Lord of all creation. How can he be Lord of all creation? Without knowing himself. So I think the most foolish being is man. Okay. Therefore, we don't know the essence of man. And we don't know purpose of man. We don't know how to live. Main things, most important points, we do not know. What principles, this means, what principle we have to apply in our life. What principles we have to live. We don't know these things. Then why man does not know this? We know if many people think man is cause. Because they say, many materialists, they say there was material, and from material, evolution took place, and gradually it became higher beings, and suddenly it became plants, and then it became animals, and after many, I don't know how long, but anyway, long time passed, and it suddenly became man. This is what they say. So they say, from material, man came. And you know how materialists say about this material? They say, in material there was no conscience, no spirit, no conscience, no reason. No intellect, anything. There was nothing. So like this material had nothing. No spirit, no conscience, no reason, no feeling. This was these things. This was material. And materials themselves say that they cannot from the material which did not have anything, no spirit, no conscience, no reason, no feeling, no intellect. From this suddenly man came, and man has spirit or conscience or they don't say about this. Man suddenly came to have reason. They don't deny this. Material, they deny this about this. They deny man does not have spirit. Man does not have conscience. But they admit this, reason or feeling or those things. But when they say spirit, this does not mean spiritual spirit. But man has spirit, you know. This is, what do you call this? Just just functional mind. They admit this. So when they say spirit, this is functional mind. And when functional mind comes, they know that. Huh? Because and they say that we don't know how from this material man came to have reason, feeling, or mind. Because they cannot answer this. And they say that. Even science develops very high, but still this makes them confused. So they admit to this. Therefore, if material interests them, they must be able to explain this. How, from material which did not have any of these things, how man could have these things. They should be able to explain the reason why. But they can't explain this. Without them, they say they cannot know this. And they insist materialism. Does it make sense? If they are to insist materialism, then they should be able to explain how from this nothing this came. But without explaining this, if they insist, it is not scientific attitude. Therefore, materialism has no scientific foundation to claim for it. And we know, if from material man came, then who is cause? Materialism, if we follow materialism. No cause. Huh? Then we have to say that man himself is cause. We have to say that. Anyway, without cause, there cannot be effect. So then we have to say that man is cause and man is effect. We have to say that. Then, if man is cause, then man must be able to know about him, if he is the cause. Then why can't we know all these important things? If man is cause, then man should be able to know about man's essence or purpose of man's life or these things. They have to give answer to this. But from the fact that man cannot answer these questions, it is good evidence that man is not cause. Not cause. So man is effect. Man is effect. Then, first we know there's nothing. From nothing, can have something? Nothing. From nothing, nothing. This is logic. Therefore, if there's no God, nothing, how can something come? From nothing, nothing comes. Therefore, we have to admit something here. We have something here. No? So there was something. Therefore, many things came. No? Many material, all the things came. Then what is something? This one. This is the question. Because there was something, therefore, there came all the creation and man. And when we follow this one, then man has all this conscious, reason, feeling, all this. Therefore, the something which was the cause must have that. If this something did not have nothing, then man cannot have reason or feeling, all those things. Therefore, from this we can understand this one had also reason, intellect, mind, or feeling, all those things. So this is first cause. This is the first cause. And we call this, in religion, we call this God. Therefore, to find out essence of man, we have to know essence of cause. To find out essence of man, then we have to know the essence of cause. What is essence of cause? That is God. So we have to know God's nature. Without knowing God's nature, we can never know essence of man. What is man? We cannot give answer for that question. So the reason why man did not know the essence of man is because man did not know about God. Even religion, they talked about God, but they don't know what nature man has, God has. So without knowing God's nature, we cannot know this. And then to know purpose of man's life, then who does give purpose to man? Man gives his purpose to himself.
No.
So we know that. Purpose of creation, created being. Purpose of being is given by the Creator. This is the principle. So Creator gives the purpose to its created being. So when I say, what is the purpose of this chalk? This purpose of this chalk is given by the Creator, man who created this one. So why did man create chalk? To write letters on blackboard. This is the purpose of man's creation of chalk. Therefore, the purpose of chalk is given by man who created this. Same thing. So the purpose of this book is also given by the man who wrote this book. Same thing for the microphone. The purpose of microphone is given by the man who made this. Not the microphone itself. Therefore, the purpose of man's life, to understand this, we have to understand the God's purpose. God's purpose of creating man. Without knowing this, we cannot know the purpose of man's life. So when God created man, he had purpose to create man. And that purpose became man's purpose of life. Therefore, without knowing God's purpose of creating man, we can never know man's purpose of life. Then how about this? How to live? How about the principles of life, man's life? What is this? This is principles of man's life. How can we know this? To know this, what principles God used to create man? You have to know this. God's creation principles. God's principle creation of man. Without knowing this, we cannot know this. And chapter 1, the principle of creation is to teach us these things. This is the purpose of chapter 1. So from here we can understand how important it is to know God's nature and God's purpose and how the principles. What principles are used to create man? The three are most important things. So then, section 1, this is about God's nature. God's nature and His creation. One is God's nature. God is God a visible God? If God is visible, there would have been no problem. You don't have to fight with the materialists. If God is visible and God is tangible, you can touch God, then everyone can know. But unfortunately or fortunately, we don't know. Anyway, God is not visible. So those who emphasize only physical senses, they cannot know God. If you only, put emphasis only on physical senses, you can never know God. And invisible God, but there are many things which are invisible, but they exist. They exist. There are many things. Even in this natural world, there are many things which are invisible, but we know they exist. There are many things. For instance, like sound. How about sound? Sound is invisible, but we know it exists. Like, okay, just. Okay, for instance. For light, we cannot see all the light. Some light. What do you call it? Ultraviolet ray and infrared ray. So, only during this part. Ultraviolet and infrared. Only during this one, we can see. This side, we don't know, we don't see. This side, we cannot see. And the same, but we know they exist. And even radio waves, all kinds of waves, they exist, but we cannot see. And sound the same. For sound, there are many big sounds now around us, but we cannot hear them. When this earth turns around, it makes big noise, but we don't hear. Only from maybe 20 cycles to 20,000 cycles only. This one we can hear, but higher one, lower one, we don't hear. And also, we know electricity force. Amazing. Can you see electricity? But force, X-ray, or gamma ray, cosmic ray, many things. But we know they exist. So from this we can understand our physical senses are not standard to define to define the existence of something. Now, our physical senses cannot be the standard by which we can determine the existence of being. And then, all the creation and the man, with what all the creations and man are made? All the creations, they are made of material. Then what is material made of? Made of, it's from energy. So that's invisible one. Because man's mind is invisible, therefore everything is made of invisible ones, elements. And because of this, the first cause must be invisible being. And we know from nothing, nothing can come, therefore there was something, and that something is God. And God is a being with senses, with emotion, intellect, and will. The cause which has emotion, intellect, will, that is called God. So God has intellect, emotion, which is higher than man's emotion, intellect, will. Then the relationship between God and man. What is the relationship between God and man? Okay, first one was God. That's what we want to explain. First one, the first one was the instance of God. We want to explain about that. Now, next one is relationship between God and man. God and man. Bible says that when God created man in His image. In His image. This chapter Genesis 1:27. Man is God's image. Therefore, when man grows up and to reach perfection, then man becomes image of God. That means body of God. So substantial body of God. This is man. Substantial body of God. Image, that's me there. So this is most important thing. So from this, all the value of man comes. This is the foundation. Because of this, man can claim his rights or his dignity, everything comes from this. So in philosophy, this is most important point. The image of God. So perfect man is substantial body of God. From this, two different philosophies are divided. So this is very important part. And when we fight against communism, and actually with materialism, we have to all use this one. This is the source. This is the foundation of our claim. Without this, we can never win. Then what's the relationship between God and perfected man? So we have to talk with perfected man. If you talk with fallen man, you cannot know this. So when we speak the relationship between God and man, if you take fallen man, you can never understand God. So we have to talk about perfected man, between God and perfected man. And when we say perfected man, it does not mean the man whose physical body is only perfect. But we say mind is also perfect. So when we say perfected man means both mind and body is perfect, are perfect. This is perfected man. And we know God and perfected man. This is like our perfected mind and heart. Our perfect mind and body. or you have to say perfectly. In man's mind, and body resembles after mind, resembles mind, your mind. Therefore, likewise, perfect man resembles God. And how does this man's body move? It must get directions from mind, receive directions. And according to mind's direction, body moves and mind is pleased. So if you can live as you desire, then you will be pleased. If you want to do something and if you can do it, then you are pleased. That's fine. But if you want to do something but if you cannot do it, you are not happy. The same thing, original mind, original man, perfected man must receive directions from God. And by receiving God's directions, man can live properly. Then God can be happy and man can be happy. They want this direction from God. This is the words of God. So by receiving God's word, this is directions from God. God's words. So mind always gives direction to body. But God gives words to man, and if man lives according to God's words, he can live properly and he can return joy to God. So God and body. So when body lives according to man's mind, then mind is pleased, body is pleased. Same thing. When man lives according to God's words, God can be happy, man can be happy. Both can be happy. The joy comes when man can live according to God's words. And here we say, mind is subject and body is object. Because mind gives directions to body, and body lives according to man's mind, therefore mind becomes subject. This subject, and body is object. And we know that. However, man's physical body is sound, but if his mind is not normal, we don't consider him as a man of character. But however, his body is disabled. But if his mind is sound, we consider him as perfect man of character. So from this we can understand man's value lies in mind, not body. Of course, body is important, but man's essence is in mind. Therefore, when we say somebody, we call here Mr. Montanaro. Where is he? Where is Montanaro? Montanaro? Yeah. Where is Montanaro? Which is Montanaro? Yeah. His physical body is Montanaro? His body is only just a temporary dwelling place of your mind. So when we call somebody, we mean his mind, not his physical mind. But in old days, they believed that, when I went to France, I saw they put the man's heart in church. So when if famous man died, then they buried. They took out the man's heart and brain and the other parts separately. So 3 places. They buried in 3 places because they considered man's spirit dwelled in man's heart. Man's heart, they thought mind was in man's heart. But does man's heart, man's mind dwells in heart? No. And also they thought from heart, this physical heart, man's mind came. They did not know the existence of spirit. But that is not known. So even we take out the heart from him and put the artificial heart, still he's there. So heart is not him. In your eyes, represent you, but not yourself. Therefore, man's essence is invisible. Man is invisible. Therefore, when we talk, we are talking with the invisible person. Invisible person, invisible mind. That is man's essence. So now we know the importance of mind. This is most important part. Because of this, even when we, if your mind is broken, then you get the disease, the physical body gets trouble. When you are too disappointed, or when you get some shock, then you get trouble in your physical body. So physical body is directly affected by your state of mind. Therefore, we say, if you are too overjoyed, also gives you disease. When you have too deep sorrow, also it gives you disease. If you get too angry, also it gives disease. All those things. So all is, if you go excess, so everything, that is already, that's not normal state of your mind. Therefore, it can cause trouble in your physical body. So this is most important source, subject. Therefore, we have to have peace in your heart. Then you can have a good health. If you don't have peace in your mind, you cannot have good health. And therefore, in the Orient, we emphasize very much the prenatal education of baby, when baby is in mother's womb. Now, recently, even in the old days, Western medicine, they laughed at it. But now, they found out from their medical research that the mother's thinking affects very much the baby. But that's very recent. But in the Orient, from a long time ago, we knew that. So, especially when I think all of women, you are blessed wives. Huh? So when you have a baby in future, and your baby, or your thinking, everything, it's very important. It gives a strong influence to your children. So you should have good heart, and also you should think about God. And you have to bring the Spirit of God into your physical body. Then God will give you a very good baby, very good baby. Yes, if you sometimes I find out that baby is much better than parents. Much better than parents. The good parents, baby come. No, from parents alone, good baby cannot come. There must be some other force which influence them. That is God. So if you get help from God, you can have really good baby. That's just true. So then how can we invite God inside us? How can we invite God to dwell with us? This is the secret. So if we succeed in bringing God in us, He's always successful man in his life. So we have to find out that. That is the secret. Most important secret of life. And to bring God inside us, then we have to hear God's voice. That means God has some desire for man. And we also have desire for God. And when we listen to God's desire, and if we fulfill God's desire, then God will listen to our desire. He will fulfill our desire. Always give and take action. If we neglect God's desire, He will neglect our desire. So we have to accept God's desire. And we have to live to fulfill His desire. Then He will fulfill our desire. This is the principle. So between men the same. Between man and man. Between God and man the same. Maybe sometimes God is more. Because He is more sensible than man. Okay, then how this substantial being body is realized? How substantial body is created or realized? We know 1 o'clock. 1 o'clock? Yes. Okay, we'll take more time, so okay, leave next time. So, anyway, God's principle of creation, this is. So we have to live by this principle. This is really important. Because when next time Good morning. Three or 2, 3. How is a substantial body is created? So.
I think we didn't talk yet about point 2.
Oh? I think. Huh? Number 2? Oh, yeah, but okay, number 2 was, I did not give it. Huh? Yeah, that's number 2. Yeah, but this is number 3. Okay. So whenever we study about God, or we compare with man, so by understanding man, we can understand God. So already we do that. But one thing we have to remember is that what we think of is not fallen man, but original man, perfected man. Okay? So then, how is sufficient body created? So to understand this, we have to understand how man creates something, substantial one. So when you create something, you have purpose to create. Now first you have to find out purpose. And to achieve this purpose, you think what you need. What you need. So what is needed? You find out what is needed. Then you make plan or design. So you make idea, make structure, design. Then you put materials. You buy things, and you put your technique, efforts, skill, and you make. So you buy materials plus your technique, then it comes. So this is invisible one. Design is invisible one. You know? So first you have in your head you make some invisible design, and according to that you use these materials and technique. Then it comes here, substantial object. Substantial body. Anyway, so by this we can understand. Or is before we come to have this substantial being, substantial object, first we make invisible structure, invisible plan or design. So this comes first, or is. Invisible one comes first. Then the substantial body or being comes next. Therefore, when God created, also He did the same thing. God is invisible God, but in His mind there was a plan, invisible plan, invisible idea. And to put this into reality, He gathered all things. So He put energy, His skill, His heart, His wisdom, His love. Then creation came. This is how God created all the creations. Therefore, this substantial object is the expression of this invisible design. So actually we say this is a substantialization of your invisible idea. So invisible idea takes form and it becomes substantial object, substantial being. Therefore, the Creator's mind always expressed in His Creator's work, His work. Is always expressed in His work. So therefore, by studying this His work, we can understand His mind. So vice versa, both ways. Creator's mind is represented by His work, and by studying His work, we can know the Creator's mind. And the writer's character is expressed in his writing or his contents. In the writing or content of his writing. So therefore, to understand writer's mind, by studying this one, we can know his mind. This is what we are doing in our daily life. Therefore, to understand invisible God, because God is invisible, therefore, to understand God, invisible God, we have to use the same method as we do for such case. And when we want to find out man's mind, or living man's mind, how we do? Somebody is living, and we want to know his mind. How can we find out his mind? Yeah, you look at his face, whether he's smiling or he's angry or he's sad. And not only that, what he says, through what he says, through what he does. So his sayings and his actions, faces, through these things we can know the person's mind. This is what we are doing every day. Then how about passed away man who died in the past, and we want to know his mind? How do we do? Yeah, we study his work or his life. We study his life, what kind of life he had, and if he has some writings or paintings or everything, his work, then by studying his work, we can know what kind of man he was, because in his writing, his ideas, his life is there. So, and by studying his accomplishments, through these things we can know the man. Even we cannot see him, but we can understand him. This is what we are doing. So, living person, living man, living man's case, we do. Living man, we do. How we know? All the face, all sayings, actions, by studying these things. And person, case. Also we can know by studying his work or accomplishments. Or life, his life. By studying these things we can know. Therefore we can apply the same thing to understand God. Then what is God's work? God's work. What is God's accomplishments? What are God's accomplishments? This is his creation. So by understanding God's creation and God's work, we can know his work through providential history of salvation. So there are two ways to understand God. One is through this, one is through his work. And we want to know God through this one now first. In chapter 1, we want to find out about God by studying his creation. And this one will be done in part 2. So providential history. By studying providential history, we can understand God more. Therefore, Romans chapter 120, it said that God's deity, the invisible, God's nature and deity is expressed in his creation. Therefore, we cannot have excuse that we cannot know God. There's no excuse. Even you see his creations, and we cannot say that we cannot understand God. So if we see his creation, we have to understand. We can understand him. This is what the Bible says. So now we want to find out the common characters of all the creations. So by finding out common characters, we can understand God. And we know from cause or effect come. So therefore, by studying effect, we can understand cause. So this is God. God is cause, and his creation, all his creation, is effect. So we can understand, by studying all his creation, we can understand God. This we want to do. Then, and creation can be divided into 6 groups, categories. So now, number 4. 형상. Oh, this is, we call it internal character and external form. Creation can be divided into 6. One is man, first one is man, and animal, and plant, and molecules, and atoms, and particle. So if we can find out the common factors among these 6, then we can know they come from God, because God is cause and these are effects. And we know that man has mind and body. An animal has animal mind and body. And plant has plant mind and body. And molecule has body, and atoms all have body. As man's body is made of cells. And how about animal? Made of cells. So man's body is made of cells, and animal body is also made of cells. And these bodies, they work, they move, or they exist, they live and work, act by receiving orders or directives from invisible mind or invisible animal mind. Therefore, and this plant body is also made of cells. If these bodies work or live and act by receiving orders or directives from its invisible mind and animal mind, then how about this one? It should be the same. Therefore, because they are made of similar cells, therefore, the plant body moves or live and act by receiving the orders from its plant mind, the invisible one. And if we go into deeper, then how about the body? Cells are made of molecules. And the body which is made of molecules exists and move and act by receiving orders from its invisible ones. Then how about this one, molecule? And molecules are made of atoms, so this is made of atoms. Cells are also made of atoms. And molecules are the same thing. The bodies which are made of atoms exist, work, and act by receiving orders from its invisible mind. Therefore, for molecules, this body of molecule also must receive something from its invisible side, some orders. So they should be the same. And we call this invisible part the mind of body, mind of molecule. We cannot say it's mind, but something like mind. The source which gives directives to its body, we call this in IDN. The inherent directive nature, we gave that this name for just a convenient purpose. In directive nature. So by this, they get, from this, they give directives or orders. And there, by receiving this, they live. They can act, exist and act. And how about atoms? Bodies made of particles. And these bodies are also made of particles. Same thing. Therefore, also they should receive directives or something from its invisible side of its structure. And we call this one also invisible part. This is like mind of atom, and we call it inherent directive nature. So they also receive directives from its inherent directive nature. And particles are the same. The body is made of energy. And man's body is also made of energy. So same. Therefore, this particle, this body, also must receive orders from invisible one. So this is also in IDN of particles. So this gives orders, directives to its body. So by this, all the molecules, atoms, particles, they have their own properties. They can do all kinds of actions. Chemical actions, all the actions come from this IDN. So all the creations, they have this invisible side and the visible side, and we call this side internal character, and this one external form. In Korean, we call this 성상. We call this 형상. So this all the creation have this. All the creation have internal character and external form, or 성상 and 형상. And this comes from cause, God. Therefore, the cause, God, must also have internal character and external form. Because if the cause God did not have internal character and external form, the creations which were created by God cannot have internal character and external form. Because they take all the natures from God, the creator, cause. And we call this internal character and external form God's original internal character or external form, or original 성상 and original 형상. So what we have, this mind and body, all came from God. So God had this 성상 part and 형상 part. This is very simple explanation, but this is very important. In philosophy, where the material came, where the spirit came. So if we apply this to our philosophy, we can say that material and spirit came from God at the same time. Materialists, they say, material came first, and from material, spirit came. They say this way, but this is not. From same God, so from the beginning, there was spirit and energy. And spirit, over that is 성상 part, main part. So we say this 성상, this is most important part. 성상 is invisible, internal essence of all beings. So here, for man, mind is the essence of man. So this side is the essence of animal, mind is the essence of animal. Or plant, this is essence of plant. So 성상 side is always internal essence of the being. And this decides its 형상. Okay? So 성상 decides its 형상. Therefore, we can say 형상 is the expression of its 성상. So we can say body, mind decides body. And body is the expression of our mind. Mind determines our body. Okay? And the reason we can find the evidence for that, you know, palmistry. Palmistry? You know, palmist. By reading this palm, you can tell, they can tell your fortunes or, you know, your past, and even they can tell your future. Then why can palmist tell your future? Because that is, your physical body is an expression of your mind. Mind which is your essence. Yeah? So, actually you are your mind. So by reading you can tell. So we can wisdom when we look at your face, also we can tell something. So what do you call that? Physiognomy. So palmistry and physiognomy, by looking at your face, can tell your fortune, your future, or your past. Because our faces, or our face, or our physical body is the expression of our mind. And because by the state of our mind, our future is decided. So this is good example that mind is subject and it decides its body, its object, or its physical body. And when also all the animals, all the instinct comes from this animal mind, so all the instinct. And by the directives of this animal mind, animal moves and eat or sleep, all those things. They live. And how about molecule? When atoms, they come together to form molecules, how they come? How they come together? That is by the work of this inherent directive nature. So when atoms form certain molecule, there is already something which has purpose to form certain molecule. This case, this we call it this inherent directive nature. It brings the needed atoms come together. So by the work of this inherent directive nature, different atoms come together to form special molecules. And when also they form, particles form atoms the same. They don't come together just not randomly. Or there is some principle, laws. According to the laws, this inherent directive nature work, and they bring different particles, special particles together to form special atoms. So when men unite, when you have maybe you have your friend, then how you you become close friends. To become close friends, then your mind and your friend's mind must come together. When two minds come together, then you can be close friends. So always this mind must come first. So husband and wife is the same. The mind should come together first, then they can unite. Always mind comes first, mind. Therefore we can say that 성상 is invisible internal essence and cause. So it's the cause for your 형상. And it decides its external form. And 형상 is external substantial object, and it is effect, and it is an expression of its 성상. So So all this comes 성상 and 형상 together, and we call this 성상 and 형상 dual characteristics of 성상 and 형상, because they always come together. And God has 성상 and 형상. We call it God's original 성상 and 형상, or we call it God's original dual characteristics. So all the characteristics of 성상 and 형상 come from God. So God is the source of all the 성상 and 형상. So when God creates something, He puts, this is God's 성상 and 형상. This is all 성상 and 형상 of God. And when He creates something, He cannot put everything what He have to into His creation. No. So if He creates something maybe for particles, some part of, very small part of His 성상 and 형상 are put into particles. So when He create plant, He put more 성상 and 형상 into His plant. Animal's case, a little bit more. But for human case, man's case, more. But some man has this part more and this part very, very little. You know? Some inherit this part more and this part little. Because of this, all people come to have different characteristics, different characters. Of course, we inherit all the 성상 and 형상 from God, but the part which we mostly inherit are different. Degrees are different. Some part we inherit more, some part less. So because of this, our characters come to have different nature, different. Of course, but they are all within. They come from within God's nature. From this we can say that God has God's nature. God has all the natures, all the 성상 and 형상 of His creation. So to understand God, we have to put all the 성상 and 형상 of all the creations. Then that can become God's 성상 and 형상. This is all dual characteristics of positivity and negativity, or male and female. We have another characteristics. One is 성상 and 형상. The other one is male and female characteristics, or positivity and negativity. And we do the same thing. Man and animal, plant, molecule, particle. So man is man and woman, male and female, and animals also, male animal and female animal. For plant, we like to say the same thing, male plant and female plant. There are some trees, but many cases it's not. So we say stamen and pistil. And for molecules, positive molecule or negative molecule. And atoms, also positive ones, positive atoms, negative atoms. And particles the same. Positive particles and negative particles. And this is all effect. From this we can understand all the beings have this two natures. One is positivity, we call this side positivity, this one negativity. This all creation have this. Then why all creation have this? This is because the cause God have this. So the cause God have positivity and negativity. So this comes from God. So because all the creation have this, therefore from this we can understand God, cause God must have two characteristics of positivity and negativity. If we change our saying, then from God all the creation inherited these two characteristics, positivity and negativity. Therefore, man has two different kinds, male and female, man and woman, other things. And the reason why plants are not made of a male plant and female plant, some trees are made like that, but the reason why the others are not like that, that is because for man and woman, animals, they can move freely, but plants cannot move freely. Therefore, to assure their multiplication, God gave stem and pistil in one tree. Then they can have multiplication without failure. You know what do you call the tree? Ginkgo tree. Ginkgo tree. You know ginkgo tree? Yeah, it has a male tree and female tree. So if they don't come together, they cannot bear fruit. Yeah, there are many kinds of trees like that. But most cases, they have, in one tree, they have both sides, stem and pistil together. And this one, atoms, like this one is, because man is made of two different, it's the same man, therefore we have to say this, molecule, positive molecule, negative molecule. And this one, usually, sometimes when you give lecture, you say a different way. They are made of positive atoms, and but this should be same level. You know? So this for man, man's case, man and woman. Animal's case, male animal, female animal. Therefore, this should be positive molecule and negative molecule. Understand? Or this one, positive atoms, negative atoms. Particles are same. Positive particles, negative particles. So everything is made like that. So you know the typical particles are protons and electrons. Of course, there are many other particles, but so we say like this. So we call this dual characteristics of positivity and negativity. So there are two dual characteristics. One is 성상 and 형상. The other one is negativity and positivity and negativity. Okay. Then now, the relationship between 성상 and 형상. Then what relationship they have between 성상 and 형상? This is 5, 5, 6. For this 형상 and 형상, this is invisible side. This is visible side. Of course, some things, they don't have form. Even external form does not have form. Does not have substantial form. But still we say 성상 side is invisible side, 형상 side is visible side. Because, for instance, some wind or something, what is good example? Or X-rays, we cannot see it. We cannot see it. But the result can be seen. If they work, the result can be seen. The work can be seen. So that is substance side, 형상 side. Therefore we say 형상 side is visible. Force itself cannot be seen, but when it works, it can be seen. So because of that, we use visible. So invisible side, 성상 side is always invisible. And this is internal. This is external. So 성상 is always within itself. Like if when you drive a car, there's a driver. Driver is in the car. You cannot see from outside. Of course, you have window, but if it is closed, you cannot see it. Same thing. In the seat, there is always 성상, but that is within its body. So only internal. That's internal one. Means internal. And 형상 side is external. And also we say this side is vertical. Because this one is horizontal. Then what this vertical means? This means that if 성상 is only horizontal, then it cannot relate with the past or future. But when we say something, 성상 is vertical, that means it can transcend time and space. So when you look at your work of your mind, you can go back to the past or future. You can think of America, or it is very free. So this means that. So 성상 always like that. So 형상 always stays. It's limited by time and space. That means horizontal. And this is cause. This is effect. And we call this is subject. This is object. So 성상 is always most important part. 성상 is the cause of 형상, and is subject, and 형상 is object. So with 성상, all the creation, all man, all the creation can have a vertical relationship. So because every being has 성상, therefore, because of this 성상, we can have relationship. So vertical relationship. With 성상 words, we can have vertical relationship. And with 형상, we can have horizontal relationship. Therefore, all the creations, because they have 성상 and 형상, therefore they can have vertical relationship and horizontal relationship. If you look at your textile, or woven by vertical thread and horizontal thread, same thing. When this is woven with vertical thread and horizontal thread, sweater, like that. So this world is like that. Because if there was no 성상 part, all the beings can have only horizontal relationship. But because all the beings have 성상 part, therefore they can have vertical relationship And because of their 형상파, they can have horizontal relationship. So this world can be said organic body, which is woven vertically and horizontally. And next is relationship between positivity and negativity. Negativity, very simple one. Because this is internal side, this is external side, and this we can say subject, and this is object. So positivity, like if we look at atoms, nucleus, this positive side all stays inside, and electrons outside, external. And this is subject, this is object. Or its center is subject, and this is object. And when we say this, maybe our members are not like that, but the first comers, they give objection. Why woman should be object? Why not subject? But the Bible says this. This is not what I'm saying, but the Bible says this. Genesis 2:18, it says that God first created man, and He said, to stay alone was not good, and to give him helper, God said He would create woman for him. So woman was created as helper of man. Helper is not subject. And Genesis 2:22, the same thing. God said that when God created Adam, and it says that He took out one rib from Adam, and with that rib He created woman. This is what the Bible says. So what does it mean? Woman was created with a rib taken out of man. So what does it mean? It means woman is something which comes along with man. Of course, we have Thatcher, the English Prime Minister. He's woman. But yeah, that's a special case. But I think still she'll be happy when she serves for husband at home. So, and this is what the Bible says. So. And 7, 8. Dual characteristics. So biblical foundation for dual characteristics. This chapter, Genesis 2:17, 127, you said. It says that God created man in his image. This is really important verse. Man is image of God. In his image. And we know man has mind and body. God's image has mind and body. Therefore, the original being, God, also must have mind part and body part. We call this part 성상, this part 형상. From this we can understand God must have 성상 part and 형상 part. Because God has this part, therefore man came to have mind and body. And the image of God is divided in two. Man divides man and woman. Male and female. Therefore, in God, there must be two characters. So God must have also male characteristics and female characteristics. Man came from this. Therefore, because of that verse, man is created in the image of God. Therefore, from this we can understand that God must have this by seeing man. Dual characteristics of 성상 and 형상. So between these two, dual characteristics of 성상 and 형상 and dual characteristics of positivity and negativity, then which is more important one? Here, man has mind and body. But this is male side. Woman has also mind and body, but this is female side. So this is man and woman. This is dual characteristics of 성상 and 형상. So man and woman both have this one. But how about this one? Dual characteristics of positive and negativity. Man has only male side, woman has only female side. So from this we can understand which is more important. Which is more important? This one. Because this is the essence. Without this, man cannot be man. If you have only mind, you cannot be man. Both man and body, we should have both. So this is the essence of man. Therefore, this dual characteristics is the most important part, and this is the essence of God's character. And this is adjective, Male, mind and male body. So this is adjective. So this is attribute to dual characteristics of 성상 and 형상. So dual characteristics of positivity and negativity is the attribute to the dual characteristics of 성상 and 형상. So now we have some interesting drawing. You know this? This for mathematics they use this. So this plus this minus, this plus this minus. So this side is this 형상. This is 형상 side. This is positive side, this is negative side. So just like electricity and magnetism. So if we draw this more, plus side, this is minus side then. So, you know, this side is male side, this one. This is female side. So this is man, this side is man, this side is woman. Now next is God's nature. Ten. Then what is God's 성상? We have to give an explanation for God's 성상 and God's 형상. What is God's ultimate 성상? What is God's ultimate 형상? Huh? Yeah. So we say God's ultimate 성상. That's 성상 is infinite, we say infinite spirit. Infinite spirit of God's heart, love, intellect, will, and force. This is God's 성상. Spirit. But what is this spirit? This is spirit like a spirit mind. We don't have the word yet. But anyway, that when we say spirit, spirit can mean body, but it does not mean that. If it's spirit, that means spirit mind side, spirit minds, but it has no form. So if it's spirit of heart and love, this is God's 성상 part. Then what is God's 형상 part? So that's God's infinite energy, we can say. Energy of force. God's infinite energy or force. And when God expresses His 성상, they always appear in the form of beauty, truth, and goodness. Always. So when God person, so God's heart, love, intellect, will, and force, energy or force, all is expressed in His creation through beauty, truth, and goodness. All is God's creation. Infinite energy of force, maybe infinite force, maybe better. So this all is expressed in beauty, truth, and goodness. Whatever God does, they all take that form. All is. So God puts His heart, love, intellect, and will and force into His creation. And they all take this form. All they appear as beauty, truth, and goodness.
This is the Sumsang.
Which one?
The Sumsang expression, or also Sumsang something.
So the creation which inherits both God's 성상 and 형상, they appear as a being of beauty, truth, and goodness. All this. So God's work can be compared to the sacrificial love and service of parents to their own children. So the way God puts His heart, love, intellect, will, and force to His creation can be compared to the work of parents for their loving children. No other thing we can find this. So most well found in parents' love and service for their children. Then what are the contents of nature of God now? Nature of God. This is just we talk about God's 성상. And what's God's 형상? Then how about God's nature? God is God of heart and love. In the later part, I'll explain the difference between heart and love. But just here we say God is God of heart and love. Because now, all the parents, when we look at parents, this one, we can have different parents, like Korean parents or German parents, or white parents or yellow parents. Many different kinds of parents. But whatever parents they may be, the parental love for their children are the same. Then where this come, where this parents' heart and love came? It came from first ancestors. So it came through generations. So we learn this parents' heart from our parents. We inherit this from our parents. Therefore, parents' love and heart came from first ancestor. And who is the first ancestor of mankind? That is God. So, first man and woman must have inherited their parental heart and love from God. Therefore, from this we can understand God is the God of heart and love. And next one is God is God of truth, goodness, goodness. In foreign world, they always say truth first. Truth and goodness and beauty. That is what they say. This is the order of their saying. But in our divine principle, it's different. We always say beauty first. That is because emotion comes first. So it will be also explained later. Just when you give lecture, maybe they will not accept this, but we cannot help it. Anyway. So already they put intellect. They think intellect is the most important part. So when they intellect and emotion and will, they say this order. But our case, emotion comes first, then intellect and will. So this order is different. When we look at our original mind, and if you say original mind, they don't understand this. If you say conscience, they may understand. But if you say original mind, they don't understand this. Original mind is also the word which we use. And by the work of man's original mind or conscience, what do men want to find? So, through the work of original mind, man wants to find beauty. And by the work of conscience, and find truth. And when they work together, they come goodness. Also, it will be explained later. The why then, from original mind, man seeks beauty. Conscience, conscience works with truth. And this man is created by God. Then why this man's original mind and conscience, or they seek for beauty, truth, and goodness? That's because in God there is the same nature. So in God has same nature, and man is the image of God. Therefore, when by seeing, man's seeking for after these three, also we have to come to the conclusion that God must have the same nature to seek after these things. So from this we can understand God is God of beauty, truth, and goodness. Because man is image of God, and man is a substance being of God. And God is God of principle, laws, and order. All the creations of God, from heavenly body to cells and to smallest particles, they are not made just without any reason and just without any laws. They are made according to the principles and the laws. And the whole world move in order, not in chaos. So this is because God is the God of principle, laws, and order. Therefore, He created them like that. Therefore, all the creation of God, they keep principles, laws, and order. And God is eternal God. God is eternal and unchanging absolute being. Man has a nature to live eternity, for eternity. And man wants to have eternal love, unchanging love, or absolute love. Or man wants to have absolute truth, or absolute beauty. Man always wants to have these things, eternal things. Man does not want to have changing value. We seek to have eternal value, or unchanging value, absolute value. Then why these things come? And why also man himself wants to be absolute being. We want to be eternal being. We don't want to change. So man's nature has this tendency to become such a person. Why is that? That is because God is such a man. Therefore, man wants to resemble God. Because of this, man wants to be eternal, unchanging being, and wants to be absolute being. So from this man's nature, we can understand God must be such a being. So man resembles this God, therefore we have such nature and we want to be like this. So from this we can conclude that God is God of heart, love, intellect, will, and force. So He is the original being of God's heart, love, intellect, will and force. And He appears through beauty, truth, goodness, principle, laws, and order. So we can say this maybe. God is infinite spirit. God is original being of heart, love, intellect, will, and He is the infinite spirit who appears through beauty, truth, goodness, and principles, laws, and order. And He is the unified subject of 성상 and 형상. And He is a harmonized being of positivity and negativity. And He is the source of all creation and He is the creator of all beings. I'm reading in Korean, so it's difficult to just instantly translate into English. Anyway, now you can understand something. Okay? So God is the object, original being of heart, love, intellect, will, and force. This is one thing. And then God is infinite spirit who appears in beauty, truth, goodness, principle, laws, and order. And God is also the unified being of Seongsang and Hyeongsang. Unified being of dual characteristics of Seongsang and Hyeongsang. And we say also he is a harmonized being of dual characteristics of positivity and negativity. And he is source and creator of all beings. So 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. So first we say God is the original original subject of heart, love, intellect, heart, love, intellect, will, and force. Yeah. That's all come from God. Force. Then next one is God is infinite spirit who appears in beauty, truth, goodness, principle, laws, and order. This is the second one. Then he is unified being of dual characteristics of Seongsang and Hyeongsang. And we say harmonized being of positivity and negativity. Harmonized being of dual characteristics of positivity and negativity. And he is the source and creator of all beings. So this means he is a father of man. We have to say that he is a father of man. So creator and father of creator means that creator, source and creator of all beings, and to man he is a father. So and we know God is a spirit, infinite spirit. That is his Seongsang part. And his body is energy side, that is his Hyeongsang side. And now two, this big two, this is God and a relationship between God and all his creation. When we say God, God has Seongsang part and Hyeongsang part. So, Hyeongsang part. And positivity, negativity, or positivity and negativity. This is God. But we know this is invisible. God is invisible subject. But from this God created all the creations, and when he created, he used principle. through this, he created all the creations. And all the creations resemble God. And when the creation has dual characteristics of 성상 and 형상 and dual characteristics of positivity and negativity, we say that is individual truth body. So truth bodies. All the creations we call this truth bodies. And they can be divided into two. One is image of God. One is symbol of God. So symbolic creation, one is image. That this is man. And this is all things. We say symbolic being is okay, but what do you say? Image, you have some adjective for image? This is all creation. This we call it objects. Objects, correct. So, and we say God is creation. God is invisible God. We call it visible side. Internal, this is external. Effect. We call this one 성상. So here always you have to think this is a noun, so cause effect, and they are all adjective. And this is noun, and this is all adjective. Same thing. So here also invisible internal vertical cause, God is, and creation is visible external horizontal effect. And God is 성상이sh positive subject, object is 형상이sh negative object. So, principle of creation and Oriental philosophy. Oriental philosophy says about the creation of a universe. They say this. This Oriental philosophy. In the beginning, there was a Taeguk, and from here, positivity and negativity came, and then 5 elements. This is, they say, metal, wood, water, fire, and earth. This is 5 elements, and from here all things came. This is what they say in Oriental philosophy. And the Bible says, from God, word came, by the word all things were created. This is what Bible says. Yeah, take this is, and Oriental philosophy says this, positivity and negativity. They say, Oriental philosophy, they say, this positivity and negativity, one positivity and one negativity. This is word. That's what they say. They say one positive, one negativity. This is Tao, and the Tao is word. This is what they say. But they are saying the same thing. And so if we arrange this one, arrange this, then Oriental philosophy, they say this. Taeguk, which has only positivity and negativity. From this word came, and all things. And our divine principle says this. From God, who has Seongsang and Hyeongsang and positivity and negativity. This is what we say about God. And God created through word and all things. So you can see that this difference now, that Taeguk only has this one, but our God has this one and this one. But we know this Seongsang and Hyeongsang part is most essential part. The Doyang Oriental philosophy missed this one, this part, most essential part. And if God does not have Seongsang, there cannot be God's will, salvation, providence, or goodness or love. There cannot be any like that. Therefore, Oriental philosophy could not develop into religion. It just became like a study, academic study. And they don't know about God's heart or God's love or providence, restoration, providence, or anything. That is because they did not know this part. So if with a little more, we say God has 성상 and 형상, and here's and this is what we say about God. But the Oriental philosophy, even they talk about positivity and negativity. They talk about this one, but this one only they say on this side, 형상 side. Even the positivity and negativity they mention, this concerns about this 형상 side only. So their tag that is similar to God, but this tag is only this side of God. They don't even talk about this side, positive negativity. If they talk about positive negativity, but not this side. Not 성상, positivity, negativity, no. So this side is empty. This is empty. Therefore, Oriental philosophy must learn from divine principle. So, have to find out God's heart, God's love, and of God's intellect, will. All those things must be elevated to this. What time is now? 11:45.
20 to 12.
Want to have a break a little bit? Okay. So because we finished section 1, now we go into section 2. And I think this time we about order, how the relationship between emotion, intellect, will, and all of the things. We'll explain it later. So that's a very important one. But just I mentioned everything like this, but later on, and how they work together. All those things we have to know. Okay.